WDBFradio.com. WDBFradio.com. WDBFradio.com.
I grabbed my fishing pole and cast it in the water. I fish until dawn. Oh my, I caught a shark. I'm fishing and blowing on when the sun shines all day. They call me a grouper. So fishing and blowing on. Oh yeah.
It's the Fish Florida Show with your host, Riscala Stevens, bringing the outdoors to you every Sunday morning, 8 to 10 a.m. on the WDBF Radio Network. And now, your host, Riscala Stevens.
Well, a good morning to you out there. It's always a pleasure to have you join us every Sunday morning from 8 to 10 a.m. here on the WDBF Radio Network. It is the Fish Florida Show. It's an honor and privilege to have you listening in. And this morning I have as my co-host the one and only Pam Worth, the top female angler here in Florida. Say hi.
Hey, how are y'all doing out there? Tight lines.
Oh, it sounds like she's a southerner. Y'all doing out there?
Could be.
And in the background we have the one and only Captain Hook. He's back there taking care of all of the goodies for me, making sure everything works smoothly. Thank you so much, Captain Hook. I really appreciate you because I had to go through it by myself last night. And without somebody there like you to kind of take care of everything, it makes it really rough. So thank you for what you do, my friend.
No problem, my friend. I heard you give me a shout out last night on your show. I heard
thank you.
You were having some technical difficulties. I wish I wanted to be there to help you, but there's nothing I could do.
I was trying some new things and a couple of things just didn't seem to be, I do a dry run ahead of time, and of course when you get online, you get on here and boom. Yep. So it is always a pleasure to have you listening. You can always find us here on the WDBF Radio Network. You can find, if you want to listen to us, there's many ways to listen to us. You can go online. You can go to the WDBFradio.com. You can also go to the FishFloridaShow.com. Temporarily, I don't know how much longer we're going to be able to do it, but you can go to the LNM network. They have been gracious to allow us to play our show across their network. And because of that, you can actually listen to us on a telephone if you don't have internet for any reason, and you have one of those calling plans where you have unlimited calling. 701-719-9704. Now that's only during the live show. For the replays, of course, you're going to have to either find us on WDBF Radio, Fish Florida Show, or on YouTube. You can find us on YouTube. If you miss us during the morning, I'm sorry that you did, but you can catch us in the afternoon, 3 p.m. in the afternoon. We replay the show again. And if you find yourself unable to sleep and it's about 4 o'clock in the morning and you're just nothing to do, you can find us at 4 o'clock. Huh?
Well, I was going to say, we're getting ready to go out fishing.
Oh, yeah, I know some people who get up that early. I won't mention any names like Pam. So there's many ways to listen to us, many times that you can listen to us. You miss both of those, of course, there's always the archives. You can go to the archives and find us there. So, Miss Pam, let's talk a little bit about some fishing. Did you do any fishing this last week?
Yes, I did. I spent the weekend, or Friday and Saturday, down at Matlacha, which is in Coral, Cape Coral. There we go, Cape Coral. Beautiful waters. Everybody says red tide. No, it was beautiful. Fish all over the flats.
I love it.
Yeah, tons of redfish. I posted some trout and redfish that I caught there on my Instagram account, Pamela K. Worth with the I. And it was just beautiful. Stayed at the cutest place ever. It's called Tiny Village. They're the little tiny houses. And it was adorable. Best seafood down there was blue dog.
Now, this is the West Coast now, right?
Yes, West Coast is down by Cape Coral is down by, like Fort Myers, Naples area.
Mm-hmm.
It was amazing. They've got a kayak tournament. Tuscaloosa kayak tournament is 12/8. So the tides are going to be exactly the same as they were this weekend. So that's why I was down there fishing, just to kind of get a feel for it.
Well, it's good to hear that, not only that you enjoyed yourself, but that, you saw that the waters were, clean. Because we've had to report on a couple of times. It's not been that way.
Yeah.
It's been kind of tough. But whatever we can do to make this situation better, it is a sad situation. It really is. And I don't like to focus on it, but it is reality. This is what we're dealing with here. And I'm always eager to hear reports of people going out there fishing and saying, oh, you know what, Riscala, we caught this, we caught that, the water was great. There's areas where the water isn't so great, but there are areas you can still go fishing. That gives me some hope, because fishing to me is just one of my, I think that if I bleed, I would bleed something like,
saltwater.
Something like saltwater, right?
Yeah. Charlotte Harbor. I saw some beautiful reds, on Instagram come out of Charlotte Harbor. So little by little they're recovering. But again, I'm so proud of the captains that banded together and went up to Tallahassee and pleaded the case for CPR, catch, photograph, and release, and not harvest, including up north, just a little north of Tampa Bay, just to help this whole area recover on the redfish and the snook. You can still keep trout, but redfish and snook are release those bait, handle gently and release them safely.
And I know to some people, they already know this, but I didn't. And I'm not afraid to admit I don't know it all. I just know that I love fishing, and I enjoyed growing up, my family doing fishing. But I didn't know this until some people told me. Particular species of fish, snook being one of them, you're not supposed to hold them in a vertical position, correct?
Correct. You see all those bass pictures of the guys just, lipping. Yeah. Especially the bigger bass, the weight of their intestines and everything. I mean, they'll sit, still on the bottom and lay on the bottom. So they're very used to being horizontal. And when you turn around and hold them by the head, two things happen. All the organs will slip down. And then secondly, they have a very weak jaw system. They're not like a redfish that crushes. They kind of suck their food in. And if you may not realize it and you may not think anything happened, but all they need to do is one little wiggle. And if you're holding them by the jaw out of the water, at any type of a little angle, and they can turn around and break that jaw. And once the jaw is broken,
they're done.
Yeah, but you don't know it. You think, oh, well, he swam away. Yeah. Well, he's not going to be able to eat.
How sad. So it's just again, I love doing this show for many reasons. One is I'm always learning. That was something that I had learned only by doing this show. I never realized, never thought about it, never gave it a second thought, really, to be honest with you. How you hold a fish when it comes out of the water, particularly if it's a fish that's going to be released again, it's vital that you hold them properly, because we do, I don't recall how long ago it was, but we did a show and we had a couple of young people on that were diving over on the West Coast, and they were testifying to the results of the systems that were in place to try to get everything growing again. And they were telling us how for the longest time the snappers were limited over there, right? There was a ban on snappers.
And there still is on red snapper.
Yeah, and they were reporting how the environment is just producing, the snappers again. So when we do things like this, there is evidence that it pays off in the long run. And that's really what we need to look for. We need to look for ways to help the estuaries, to help the sea life so that we can enjoy it. And I have Robert coming on here in a few minutes. I think he's going to give me an update about the goings on with the red tides. But always places out there to fish, ladies and gentlemen. And that's the best part of it all. There's always somewhere that you can go and go fishing. Just like Pam said, the water's beautiful wherever she went, So I'm sure there's other places that you can go, and it's the same things. Don't let this news, this really is sad news, but don't let it ruin your day. If you want to go fishing, take a look around, and I'm sure you can find somewhere where the water's fine, and you can go fishing, you can catch your fish, and if it's one of those catch and release, you catch and release. Remember how to hold a fish properly. If it's one of those that you want to keep for dinner, you can keep them for dinner and have a great dinner.
Absolutely.
And Robert is with us, Riscala.
Hot diggity dog. Good morning, Robert.
Well, good morning, guys. How you doing?
Great. You been fishing, my friend?
I just sent you the FWC red tide report, and yes, and we are looking almost all clear in the state. There's a couple small pockets, but it's nothing like the concentration that was a few months ago. There's a couple small pockets left, but we are virtually red tide free right now. So
Yeah.
I had asked Pam, I think we were off the air when I'd asked her, but in my memory, I don't recall, and she brought up a good point, which I'll bring up in a minute, but in my memory, I don't recall so many people being affected by the respiratory part of this. Do you remember that?
I don't ever remember it lasting this long or it being this highly concentrated before.
Maybe that's part of it,
the red tide this time was extremely highly concentrated, and was much more widespread and lasted much longer than it normally does. So yeah, I would imagine that's probably part of the respiratory problem, was just the concentration was so high that it was getting out into the air. And, you know, normally there are times when it doesn't even get close to shore. So, you know, but this time it was everywhere. So
And I think back in the day, people didn't relate red tide with the itchy eyes and the runny nose.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah, that's probably correct also, yeah. But like you said, there are fish being caught, so, you know, there's places to go fishing. I've gotten fishing reports because we're working on the next issue of the magazine, so everybody's sending in stuff. Cobia, Daymaker Charters has limited out on cobia 3 days in a row.
Whoa.
Over here on the East Coast. Tuna coming in everywhere up and down the East Coast.
Wow.
And redfish. Oh my God, the redfish coming out of northern Florida right now are ridiculous. So.
Yeah, the bulls are running.
Yeah, the bulls are running, and you know, the redfish are on the West Coast too, and there's some snook being caught. Please release those. If you're over there on the West Coast, unless you plan on eating it, please put it back. So, they did they lift that? Pam, do you know that?
No,
if they lifted that or not?
No, it's in effect until May 10th of 2019, just to give the population. I hope they do it for another year, but I know some people won't like that. But just to give the population a chance to reestablish. And shout out to CCA, who's reseeding. They and Mort, I think it's Mort, is that it? Aquarium, are repopulating.
Yep.
Snook, putting snook and redfish back out, as well as a few of the hatchlings, but as well as a few of the breeders. So, and all those people who contributed to, they have adopt a snook or adopt a redfish, CCA does, and all those people that are gone out to adopt that fish to help underwrite the cost of that program.
Yeah.
I'm
there
so
are
grateful
some
for people
enormous
like that.
gag grouper coming in over on the West Coast too. Crystal River Fishing sent me in some pictures. Gag grouper have just been crazy over there.
Okay, I am Mr. Ignorant. What is a gag grouper?
Yummy.
Yeah, it's very tasty is what that is. It's grouper fingers if it gets to my house. But
Oh my gosh, I wasn't ready for that.
You have. They're kind of a marbly color grouper. Marbly,
yeah, sort
gray.
of a greenish, brownish, funky looking colored grouper, but they sure are tasty.
They're
That's
a fun
not like
fight.
And
Like a
and they are
Nassau.
apparently in an abundance out off of Crystal River. So
Is it like a Nassau grouper?
no, it sort of looks like the coloring is very similar to a young black grouper. Sort of.
Wow.
But
Gag grouper.
actually,
You know,
if you just pull up Crystal River Fishing on Facebook, you'll see a whole bunch of them. So
Mr. Ignorant here. You would think that the host of a fishing show would know what a gag grouper is. Forgive me.
Oh, that's okay.
Well, we know what to get you for
well,
Christmas.
like I said,
We'll get
the
you a
one thing
fish
you need
book.
to know about them is they taste really good.
That's right. Well, the first time, you're going to laugh, the first time I went to the Bahamas for a kayak tournament over there, they listed the fish that were eligible. I had to look up 3/4 of them. I'm like, what is that?
Now I don't feel bad.
Yeah, I know.
Nope.
Wow.
There's
Yeah, it
always
sounds
fish that pop up.
It sounds like something out of the hood.
Yeah.
Hey, man, you're gonna catch a gag grouper, dude.
You know what's all over the flats right now I've been catching them for 2 weeks now, all over, is I want to call them baby barracudas, or maybe a different strain or something, but they're about 24 inches long. Massive little teeth on those things.
Yep.
What were they? Barracuda?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they'll hit
Yeah,
anything.
they're real ones. They're just small ones, but yeah, they're real ones.
Yeah, that's a dentist's delight there now.
Yeah, they'll tear
Easy
up.
to work on.
Yeah, they'll tear up your lure. They're worse than ladyfish on tearing up your lures and stealing your tackle.
And I don't know what experience you've had with them.
And they
but
smell real bad too. So.
Yes.
I've had experience with them.
When I had a boat, I would never let anybody bring a barracuda in my boat just because they smell so bad. It takes forever to get the smell out of your boat.
Yep.
So,
And usually once you catch one and you put them on the boat, you won't catch anything else the rest of the day. You get that stink on that boat.
well,
it just runs the rest of the fish off.
yeah, it does. It's just bad. So,
Well, I've had it where they actually follow my boat years ago down in the Keys.
Yeah.
And it was a big guy. It was like a 4-footer. Followed my
yeah,
boat.
if you're
We
fishing the
picked
reef
up,
and stuff and just sort of drifting around, they'll follow your boat.
picked up the lines and we drove off for probably 15 or 20 minutes. Had to be at least a half a mile away. And dropped the lines, caught a couple of nice fish. Next one coming up, nope. All you get is the head. I get the rest.
Yeah.
They are
They're down
thieving
there.
little bastards. Yes, they are.
Now, when the little ones, when I was like in my 20s and trying to get through school and waiting tables and stuff like that, it was in Boynton, off Boynton Beach. The fishing boats used to come in right next to us, and when they brought barracudas, the little ones, we used to, they would just like give them to us. We called them silver snapper.
Silver.
They're not bad eating, the little ones.
No, the
I have
little
been
ones aren't
warned
bad to eat,
not,
but they still
not
smell
to eat
bad.
barracuda. Have you heard that?
Yeah, especially the big ones.
Yeah. But I got to tell you, growing up, we had barracuda. We had little ones. They weren't very big. They were probably about the size of what you're talking about. Maybe a foot and a half long. We ate them all the time. They were great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, years ago there was a hotel in Marathon called the Buccaneer. It had a saltwater pool in the
I
back
remember
of it
that. Yeah.
that was separated by a chain link fence on one side. It was a concrete pool on the other side, but it just sort of let the water come in and out.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you used to get little barracudas in there all the time in the saltwater pool. Watch the tourists freak out, jump out of the pool because there's a 8-inch long barracuda swimming by them.
That's funny.
Yeah, a lot of crazy stuff happens with barracudas. There was a story years ago about somebody who caught a barracuda down in the Keys, and they were reeling it in, and the thing decided to charge the boat, charge whoever was reeling it in, and hit the person and caught him in the throat, and they ended up dying.
Whoa.
Did you hear about that?
No.
They bled to death because they
No,
couldn't get back.
I have seen very similar incidences. A lot of times if you're reeling something in, like you're getting ready to move and you start reeling a lure real quick and you flip it into the boat, be very cautious as to what's behind it because a lot of times barracuda will just follow something. And yes, I have seen people hit by barracudas flying into their boat,
Flying out of the water.
getting
Yeah.
stitches, and they come right out of the water.
Yeah.
And
You see how
yes,
many-
I've seen incidences of like 17, 18 stitches from being hit by a barracuda that was flying through the air. So be
Yeah,
cautious
that's
with
crazy.
that. And that's also how most people get hooked.
Yeah.
Is that you're reeling in a lure too quick,
Yep.
and when
It
it
comes
gets to
flying
the
out.
surface, it pops and just
Yep.
flies.
Yep. I got hit by a mullet.
Probably a barracuda. So,
Hit by a mullet?
so
Wait a minute. How'd you get hit by a mullet? You're
Yeah.
just jumping and you were
Yep,
paddling
you
along?
got to remember how close I am to the water. And I
That's
guess
true.
there was a shark nearby and the mullet just went, you know how they go bananas? Got hit in the back
Yeah.
of the head by a flying mullet. I thought the guy behind me hit me with his paddle. And I turned around and gave him a dirty look. And here's this mullet in the back of my kayak going, blah, 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 blah. You know?
Now that is funny. There's somewhere up north where if you drive, I don't know what they're called, but you drive
Yeah.
in the
Asian
water,
carp.
all the, yeah, that's what it is. They come out of the water like rain, like it's raining fish, for Pete's sake.
Yeah. Yep.
That's crazy. No, I don't think those fish were indigenous to that, right? They were all introduced into the area.
no, they don't belong here. So
Yeah, that's too bad. People not being responsible. We have some, believe it or not, a couple of years ago, probably more than a couple of years ago, we had a guy catch a piranha in one of the lakes out here.
Uh-huh.
yeah, speaking of things that don't belong here, the guy that won the rodeo out in the Everglades caught an 18-foot Burmese python. So
Whoa.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Speaking of things
Well,
that don't belong here, so
it is that time again when we're having fun. It just kind of flies by. So before we take a break, Robert, people want to get a hold of you and who you are and what you do. Let's hear about it.
well, just if you've got something for the magazine, we're working on it now for the next issue. Send everything to pages@flfishmag.com, and we are at www.flfishmag.com. So you guys have a great day. Nice talking to you.
Thanks, Robert. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
It's the Florida Fisherman Magazine. You can find them online. Great. Always great to have him on. Always got new stuff for me, and I greatly appreciate it, Robert. All right, we're up against the break. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Fish Florida Show with your host, Riskella. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Do you own a laser printer, copier, or a fax? Well then, listen close to this announcement. Laser Technologies has been providing high-quality, frustration-free toner cartridges that are guaranteed not to harm your equipment for over 20 years. Laser Technologies will save you on your supplies with high quality and fast delivery. Savings up to 50%. Laser Technologies supplies toner, imaging drums, developer and cartridges for most of the major brands. For a price quote, send an email to service@laser-technologies.com. Include your printer make and model for your part number. Call us at 561-792-9600. That's 561-792-9600. Laser Technologies, providing 100% of the quality at a fraction of the price. 561-792-9600.
Que Pasa Mexican Cantina is where friends and neighbors come to connect, share, and celebrate one another in a festive, casual atmosphere. Offering rich, robust flavors of authentic Mexican cuisine, we use only the freshest, finest ingredients. We chop and dice, season and blend, and then cook everything we serve to perfection. One thing that makes Mexican food even better is one of our delicious Best of the Bay margaritas. Our signature series of margarita flavors range from our sweet and fruity mango and strawberry to our hot and juicy jalapeno margarita. Having a busy meeting or getting together and looking for Mexican food? Try our Fast Fax form. It's an easy, fast way to order your favorite Mexican food. We have special platters and layouts for any occasion. The form is super easy to fill out, fax, email, or just call it in. Whether it's here in the restaurant, in your home or office, at Que Pasa we celebrate bringing people together. Que Pasa Mexican Cantina, 10478 Roosevelt Boulevard North Street in the Gateway Shopping Center, 727-330-3663 in St. Petersburg.
Hi folks, I'm Roger from Rogers Gotcha Motoring. If you need a local auto repair shop, Rogers Gotcha Motoring will take care of all of your automotive repair needs. If you need something as simple as an oil change or as complex as an engine overhaul, I have the latest in technology and the knowledge to get the job done right. We've been servicing Pinellas County since 1994 and are conveniently located at 3700 5th Avenue North in St. Petersburg, Florida. If you need service, call now at 727-327-1830 or visit my website at www.rogersgotchamotoring.com or like my Facebook page at Rogers Gotcha Motoring for a complete list of all of our services. So come on over to Rogers, that's me, and get your car service today. And don't forget to shop and support local business. Call now to book your appointment at 727-327-1830. That's 727-327-1830, or swing on by.
Grab my fishing pole and cast it in the water. I fish until dawn. Oh my, I caught a shark. I'm fishing and blowing on. When the sun shines all day. They call me a grouper. Stop fishing and blowing on. Oh yeah.
It's the Fish Florida Show with your host, Riscala Stevens, bringing the outdoors to you every Sunday morning, 8 to 10 a.m. on the WDBF Radio Network. And now, your host, Riscala Stevens.
Well, good morning to you. If you're just joining the show, you missed out on a little bit of fun. The first part of the show, we had Robert Warner. He is with the Florida Fisherman Magazine. If you're interested in the Florida Fisherman Magazine, you can find them online. We had a little bit of a discussion about some fishing that's going on, and we're going to have our next guest on shortly. That will be Miss Betty Bowman. She'll be coming on here with us in a moment. But before we do that, I wanted to say good morning to my co-host, Pam Worth, one of the top female kayak anglers here in Florida. Good morning, Miss Pam.
Good morning, morning, sir. How are you doing?
I am, the coffee is kicking in and I'm going about 100 miles.
There you go.
I need all the help I can get because, I'm up to like 1:00, this morning actually. And, in the background we have, Captain Hook. He's taking care of the phone calls. He's doing the production for me. Thank you, Captain Hook. Greatly appreciate it, sir.
My pleasure.
And do we have, Miss Betty on now?
Yes, she is.
Yes, you do.
Mm-hmm. Good morning, Miss Betty.
Good morning. I'm in the beautiful Florida Keys at the Chica Lodge, and in addition to Ladies Let's Go Fishing, I help out with PR and certain fishing clients, and they just had a wonderful all-American backcountry fishing tournament.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Wow. So, was this for just ladies, or was it open to anybody?
Actually, all the participants were men. And the top angler, they came from all over the United States. This program, they had a couple of war veterans that fished, and they honored them in recognition of Veterans Day, which is tomorrow. And it was a fly and general tackle tournament for inshore. And the winner was Doug Dragoof. He came from Pagosa Springs, Colorado. He released 4 bonefish on fly, 10 snook on fly, and then 10 redfish on general tackle in 2 days. That was amazing. Wow.
So, forgive me if this is a silly question, but these guys, this tournament with men, were they also working with women? Because I know that what you do is work with women, getting women to be comfortable fishing and doing stuff like that. So, were you down there with some ladies down there doing that?
No, actually, this is, an outside thing I do besides Ladies Let's Go Fishing.
Oh, I see.
Because my background is PR and marketing, and I love working for tournaments, and this tournament in the Chica Lodge in particular. But there were ladies there, and we're talking about maybe putting together a ladies fishing day as part of the tournament, and also encouraging more ladies to fish it, because most of the people, they all fish with guides. So you could fly in from anywhere and fish and win a tournament from the Keys. Because if you're with a good guide that puts you on the spot in the right place with the right tackle, they can make champions out of people that don't even fish that much. These guys from the Wounded Warriors, they released all kinds of redfish and snook, and this was their first time fishing, and they won an award too.
Wow.
First time.
Well, I enjoy the fact that you take time out to work with other ladies and get them comfortable fishing. I was fortunate. My mom, not to be cold or callous, but my mom didn't care about the smell. She didn't care about getting her fingers dirty. She loved fishing, and my dad and I, and the whole family. So we didn't really have that issue. But I know from growing up, there was times that when we were younger and we would take our girlfriends fishing or something, they really didn't want to get around. They didn't really want to get around it,
That does happen, and some ladies don't fish because they don't want to touch them. But I was like, well, have you ever changed a diaper?
Yeah, really. Yeah.
Well done.
Worse. So, and we teach, how to use dehookers and fish grip. So, if you don't want to handle the fish in a lot of circumstances, you don't really have to. There are tools out there where you can,
that's true.
You can release your fish or, hold them up for pictures or whatever, and you really don't have to get slimy. But we also teach you about why the fish have slime. That's the protective coating. And if you touch them with wet hands and not a towel and you're going to release the fish, they have a better chance of survival. So once you explain all that to them, and, we bring live shrimp and we bring bait, we do ballyhoo rigging. Once you get them over that barrier of touching it, it's really not that bad. You just wash your hands and you're done.
Well, Pam can attest to that.
Oh, yeah. And I always wear fishing gloves and make sure that they're wet. My measuring board, I always make sure that I get it wet before I put a fish on it. So, it has a better chance of surviving.
See, now,
right. And that's something that, if they come to like a Ladies Let's Go Fishing or take a class, that's something they learn and like, okay, now I'm ready to go try it.
Yeah, your classes are amazing. I have to say that. Thank you again for letting me come and participate in one of them. And the information that you give in that short period of time and the social gathering afterward really was a lot of fun.
Well, thanks. And just talked to the show manager. It looks like we'll be doing another Ladies Let's Go Fishing at the Tampa Boat Show next year. And the date is somewhere around September 7th. And we're going to have it on a Saturday because more ladies would fish if they could fish on a Sunday. This year was on a Monday. But fortunately, we did have some ladies that went out. And, even with the red tide issues and things like that, they found fish. These guys know how to get around, if there is red tide, how to get where the fish are and where the red tide is not.
Yeah, we've had a couple of reports this morning already that, first of all, it's lightening up, and second of all, there are many, and one of the reports came from Pam, that she was out in an area where the water was beautiful.
Yeah, Matlacha.
Yes, Matlacha is a wonderful place. You know what that means? It means waist deep in Indian, because all the water in that area is pretty much waist deep. So it's a lovely place to go fishing.
Yeah, it's a beautiful kayak area.
I've been to the Everglades, the coastal Everglades down by, Chokoloskee, Everglades City. They really didn't have a red tide at all. We had some over in Fort Lauderdale, but it always gets in the Gulf Stream anyways, and it dissipates, so you don't notice it on the east coast of Florida. But if the wind blows it in towards the beach, you see it. But this is the first time, really, in my life, in 30 years of living in, the east coast of Florida, that there's been much talk of red tide at all in my area.
Now, what area? I think you're in south, near Miami or something like that?
Fort Lauderdale. Lauderdale. We've never had any red tide. So, this is probably one of the worst bouts of red tide that most of us can remember. And there's really nothing anybody can do about it. Just wait for it to go away.
We need to talk to some people who are doing some irresponsible things about it and get them to straighten their act out, I believe. That's just my opinion. But there are people who are releasing water out of Lake Okeechobee improperly, I guess is the best way to put it. And that's contributing to the problem. It's not helping the problem, it's contributing to it. And those things like that need to be discussed, and they need to be discussed with people who have the authority to change this, Discussing it among ourselves is great, and to have the knowledge about it, but to really get something done, we've got to reach those people who have the authority to do that.
Right. Well, this happened before there was so much population and fertilized and things like that. It's really doesn't have a whole lot of impact except for the coastal. When it encounters it, it makes it worse. But we had actually famous angler Sandy Moret here at the tournament last night talking about it. He supports the Now and Everglades coalition. We also had Andy Mills. He's a two-time Olympian and world famous fly angler, and we had Stu Apt. So we had 3 fly champions here, and to discuss that very issue as part of their attendance.
Yeah, Stu's amazing. I saw him. I'm sorry.
Had Sandy on some time ago, but we did have Sandy on the show one time.
Yeah, well, I'm sure Sandy would be happy to call in and talk about it. And so this is what's cool is like Stu Apt is our fly fishing instructor for Ladies Let's Go Fishing in the Keys, and it's wonderful that these notable people are happy to give of their time and share their knowledge with the ladies. And we've had a lot of famous people come and teach the ladies, like Billy Black, and they had no idea who he was until they came back from the tournament or the seminar and talked to other people about who they learned fly fishing from. And then we have guides that teach the spin fishing. They come in to do the net casting, the knot tying, and we have a full schedule that I'm working on for next year. We do like 5 or 6 a year of these seminars where you learn the theory and the technology, you practice the skills, and then you have a chance to go on charter boats and go fishing. And charter boats provide all the tackle and the expertise.
I know you got a question, Pam.
No, I'm just amazed at I know all the work that it takes to go into it, and that Betty is undying, it seems like, on getting these together. And every single time, they're great programs. She's ranked very, very high in surveys. People just love it. And, it really gives the ladies to ask questions without feeling intimidated in any way.
The seminars, how many of those do you do a year, Betty?
I do 4 to 6. I've done as many as 10, but I don't know if I'm going to do that to myself again. But we even did like galloping, and we do some international trips. But it takes like 3 months to really amass the multiple instructors, the behind the scenes volunteers, because they're all in different cities. So every time I'm dealing with new people, it's like putting on a play that's unrehearsed.
Yeah, because I guess every show or every seminar you do, you have different speakers and different people helping you out. So yeah, that could be a little nerve-wracking.
So each seminar is in a different place.
Go ahead.
Each seminar is in a different place.
Right. Yeah. So I have got to load up all the stuff and bring it
Holy moly.
to all the seminars and have it all boxes marked and unpack it. Everything has a place to go. For the weekend, I have a full U-Haul of stuff, because we have the fundraisers too. And that's what is important to Ladies Let's Go Fishing to make it possible, is the fundraisers, the sponsors, and then also the fundraisers give a chance for the ladies to see all kinds of tackle and learn like what they cost and expect, what to happen at a tackle shop. And some of them come home with those, and we offer fishing trips, trips to the Bahamas. And then in between the seminars, what doesn't sell, because I have more stuff than people, I put it online, and then anybody can bid on it. So we email it out. What's on the auction? I'll be putting that up shortly, because there's some good fishing trips. There may be a Bahamas trip left, and you never know what's going to be on it.
I'm trying to think of a tagline for Ladies Let's Go Fishing, and what keeps coming to my mind is real hookers.
No, there's a clothing distributor that has that tagline.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and no, we don't have it at Tampa Fishing Outfitters.
There you go. Well, it's the no yelling school of fishing, so we want them to, if they learn the terminology and get to practice things, they're a little bit more competent as part of the team, and hopefully less likely to be yelled at because they know a little bit about what they need to do.
So if somebody's got that tagline, how about legal hookers?
Legal hookers?
I don't know. You can tell it's morning. I'm still drinking coffee.
Yeah, I think you need another cup there.
Well, it was just a fleeting thought through my mind what few of them I have.
Yeah, well, those are cute. They'd look good on a shirt, for sure.
How far away, Betty, how far away is the next seminar that you're going to, because it's going to be a seminar before you're going to have a tournament, right? The tournament, if I recall what you said earlier, is going to be September?
Yeah, that's not a tournament. I throw in a couple tournaments basically to get advertising money so I can get the, there's like tourism funding. So I can get the word out a little bit earlier because the media waits sometimes too late and the ladies hear about it right before the event and they've already planned their weekend. So, I'll do a tournament in June in the Keys and then in October in the Keys. I'll be putting up the dates up shortly. And the other ones aren't really a tournament. It's just for the ladies to learn and go fishing. So next one will probably be in Matlacha area, Fort Myers in March, Fort Lauderdale or South Florida in April. I'll do a surf fishing one in Palm Beach on Mother's Day weekend on Saturday. Then we have June, the weekend, I think it's before or after Father's Day will be our 2-day, inshore, offshore, fishing, learn on the boat, fishing experience with some prizes, rods and reels, little tournament. And then, September will be the Tampa Boat Show. And then October we'll be back in the Keys for our full day granddaddy of Ladies Let's Go Fishing with the 2 days of fishing, 2 parties and chances to network and, fantastic speakers.
So it definitely sounds like you've got a lot going on. There's going to be a lot coming up. There'll be many reasons why people would want to reach you. I think it's ladies, letsgofishing.com.
Yes, and we have a mailing list sign up, so what they can do is just sign up for that, and they'll be notified when all these fun events are coming up.
Excellent.
So I want to say it again. It's ladies.letsgofishing.com. Is that correct?
Yes, and they could see pictures of our last event where, I don't know how much time I have, but the ladies released, or they caught and released blackfin tuna, mahi, kingfish, inshore. We had a tarpon release, a snook, and we had one boat go out and they did kite fishing and they released 5 out of 7 sailfish.
Wow.
And it was just, I mean, they caught like almost every fish under the sun.
Well, I want to thank you for taking the time to call in, Betty. Unfortunately, as always, when we have fun, it flies. We're out of time. I've got to take a break. I will have you back on. I so much enjoy what you do and wish you a wonderful day, and we'll be looking forward to having you on soon again. Ladies, let's go fishing. You can find them online. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Fish Florida Show with your host, Riskella. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Download the Fish Florida mobile app to plan your boating, fishing, or hunting trip. You can find your tide reports, buoy reports, get a fishing license, and even find someone to go fishing with. Plus great products and services from all our media partners. And oh yeah, you can get the Fish Florida Show on the app. Sundays at 8 a.m. Eastern here on the WDBF radio networks. So download the Fish Florida mobile app to plan your boating, fishing, or hunting trip and tune in.
Battles aren't won solely on the field. That's a common misconception. Battles are won within, over enemies of fear, enemies of doubt. In that place where promises are kept. Promises to oneself.
This is a physical training event!
Promises to one's community.
Healthy people move debris out of their house.
Promises to one's country. In the heart of every Marine, you'll find a promise. A promise forever kept. A promise of battles won.
Today, my new dad and I shot off a rocket in the park.
Today, my new son and I failed to shoot off a rocket.
He knew exactly what to do.
I had no clue what I was doing.
We set up the rocket.
Hit
ignition. And then
nothing. Sometimes I laugh when I'm frustrated.
Then out of nowhere, the rocket launched into the air.
The rocket did get into the air.
I've never seen anything fly so high.
And then crashed into a kite.
Look out! Look out!
And then the pond.
I'll never forget that day.
I'll never forget that day, even if I tried.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are. For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
It took me a long time to be able to say Chandler has cancer, because that is such a scary word. St. Jude takes care of absolutely everything. And knowing that we don't have to pay for all of the medical expenses, that's huge.
St. Jude allowed me to focus on being a mom to Bryce. And sometimes I'm just in awe of the impact St. Jude has, not only on this community, but the world.
St. Jude is uniquely positioned to advance the cures of pediatric cancer, I think better than any other institution in the world. The contributions make a big difference.
Donors are important to us because you get the feeling that you have a team behind you. We have the resources and we have the focus. And so if St. Jude doesn't do it, who will?
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures. Saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
My vehicle was sent 6 feet in the air in a ball of fire. I thought I was going to die.
It ripped my arm off. It broke my right femur.
I took such a hard blow to the head that my retina was torn apart.
Say a prayer for peace.
I'm Trace Atkins. I want to tell you about these true American heroes and how you can show your thanks by helping them through Wounded Warrior Project.
They've reached out to us as a family, and they never forgot about us.
The job of helping thousands of our wounded warriors rebuild their lives is massive and growing every day. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Many of these service members suffer traumatic brain injury and post-traumatic stress disorder.
They helped me basically put my life back together.
If it wasn't for Wounded Warrior Project, I would be a statistic right now. I would have been one of those soldiers who came home and committed suicide.
I'm in the fields of Vietnam, the mountains of Afghanistan.
Your gift today of $19 a month can help us provide the programs and services desperately needed by our wounded service members. Call or go online with a pledge and you'll receive this Wounded Warrior Project blanket. Make that call now.
Say a prayer for peace. I grab my fishing pole and cast it in the water. I fish until dawn. Oh my, I caught a shark. I'm fishing in Florida when the sun shines all day. They call me a grouper. So I'm fishing in Florida. Oh yeah.
It's the Fish Florida Show with your host, Riscala Stevens, bringing the outdoors to you every Sunday morning, 8 to 10 a.m. on the WDBF Radio Network. And now your host, Riscala Stevens.
And we are back. Good morning to you. If you're just joining us, you've missed out on a little bit of a fun. And if you want to hear that, you can always hear it again every afternoon, 3 p.m. we play the show. We also do it again at 4 o'clock in the morning. And if you miss both of those, you can always find us on the archives, fishfloridashow.com, or we have a YouTube channel. You can go there as well, Fish Florida Show. And anything that you miss, you can always catch up on at another time. We're always happy, and I am honored and privileged to have you with us this morning. My co-host, the one and only, Pam Worth, one of the top female kayak anglers here in Florida. Good morning, Miss Pam.
Good morning, sir. It's a beautiful day. A little windy, but beautiful.
And back there in the background, taking care of everything for me, whom I appreciate so very much, because there are times when I have to do it myself, and man, is it a headache. Thank you, Captain Hook.
My pleasure, my friend.
So I'm looking at the radar here in both sides of Florida. Very little activity going on the West Coast, little to none actually. Very, very little going on the East Coast. We're looking at winds at about 3 miles an hour right now, so that tells me the seas are going to be relatively flat. The temperature currently is about 73 degrees. It's going to be a gorgeous day so far from what we're seeing. Get out there and enjoy it. That's what we're here for. And one of the things that we stress here on the show is get out there and do some fishing. Cause there's always somebody or some way to go fishing. And my next guest is one of the people that can help you do that, believe it or not. She has a website that allows people to, for lack of a pun intended, she allows people to hook up, if you will. Good morning, Stacy.
Hi, good morning. How's it going?
We're doing pretty good. How are you doing, my dear?
Good, great. Thank you.
Cleaning fish this morning?
We're excited to get people out on the water, that's for sure. Got to get out fishing.
And let's talk a little bit about that, because I so much appreciate stuff like from people that do stuff like you do. This allows people to go fishing if they have a boat and they don't have anybody with them, or if they don't have a boat and they have nobody, no friends that have a boat. A wide variety of different ways that people can get together and go fishing. Let's talk for a couple of minutes about that. What is it?
Yeah, it's fishwithme.net, and we're an online, basically like an online fishing club. So you just go to fishwithme.net. You click to join. It's free to join. You go in there. It takes you about maybe 3 to 5 minutes to set up a profile. You can upload a picture of your boat and a picture of your latest catch or whatever. You can put it in there. And then once you get your account set up, then you can start looking for local buddies. And it geolocates, so it'll show you all the buddies that are in your area from wherever you log in. But if you're looking to go up the coast for the weekend, go down to the Keys, head on over to the Gulf, whatever, you can punch in that zip code or the name of the town or the body of water, and it'll show fishing buddies in that area.
I like it. I think that's great, because I remember there were days when I owned my boat that I wanted to go fishing, and doggone, I couldn't. This was many years ago. I just couldn't find anybody, and I had to cancel it for the day, and that bummed me out.
Yeah.
So this allows
you know,
people
I mean,
to get together.
It's easy to go fishing alone if you're doing, if you're doing maybe some lake fishing or bass fishing or even shore fishing or whatever, but there's a lot of work to put in the boat in, and going out on the ocean, it's dangerous to be out there alone, and so it's really good to make sure you got somebody to go with. And you're right, it's hard to find people. I mean, you could have 15 or 20 fishing buddies and still not be able to sync up with somebody. People are busy, and the research from the Recreational Boating and Fishing Foundation shows that fishing is competing more and more with just a lot of different activities, and so sometimes it's hard to find that local buddy that's ready to go when you're ready to go.
Now, how exactly does this work? Like, let's say I wanted to fish, an area.
Yeah, so say you, and it's great for kayak fishermen too, if you're looking for a buddy to go out so that you're safe out there on the ocean. Basically all you do is you once you log into the site, you click list an outing, and then we recommend people don't list outings more than 3 or 4 days out, because that's typically how most people are looking when they want to go fishing. Most people don't even think about it more than 3 or 4 days in advance. So we recommend you click list an outing, and you put in exactly where you're going fishing, the kind of fishing that you're doing. It's not a long form. It'll only take you maybe a couple of minutes to fill it out. If you want your buddy to pitch in any gas cost to like share with gas, if you're just going kayaking, you can just post, I'm launching at this location on this time, this date. This is what I'm going out for. This is what I'm looking for. If you're willing to share equipment with people, you can mention that on there. And then you just click list outing, and it lists in, that's a geolocated list. So anybody that's within that area, that's looking to go fishing, they'll see your posting listed there. And then if they want to go fishing with you, they just click to join, and then you'll get a notice emailed to you that someone's requested to join your outing. All you have to do is click that link. You can review their profile and say, yeah, seems like a cool guy, I think I'll go fishing with them, and then you can approve that. And from there, you guys take it. You can take it offline. You could message each other, your cell phones if you want to text each other, or you can do all that communication securely within the app without having to give out your personal cell phone or your address or anything like that. So there's a level of safety that's incorporated into the app as well.
That's very cool. And there's no cost for this app?
Yep, no cost at all. The only time the site makes a little bit of money is when people are doing cost sharing, and if you want us to process the cost, that cost share for you. So let's say you're going to do some offshore fishing and you might burn through a couple of $100 of gas money. Mm-hmm. You can ask your buddy, to pitch in $100, and then what he or she can do is when they click to join, they'll have to give their credit card information, and we charge their card and we hold that in escrow. And then as soon as you guys are done fishing and you get back and you click, to go and rate each other, the funds will be immediately released into the host's checking account or their PayPal account, however they've set up their account to receive that cost share money. And then it just takes that awkward piece out of, somebody shows up and they're handing you cash. It can be a little awkward sometimes. when it's all done on the app, it's kind of like one and done. It's all out of the way and you don't have to worry about
Or they show up.
Hey, I just burned through $200 of gas money. Where's my portion?
Right. Or they show up without their wallet.
Yeah. It happens every once in a while. One of the reasons I started the app was, my 76-year-old mom loves to fish, and she fishes. She's a crazy good fisherman. And, she lives right on the water in the Florida Keys. She's got a 24-foot pro line, center console. It's a really nice boat. And she was only fishing when I visited her, and I was like, "What are you doing? Why aren't you fishing more often?" She's like, "It's just really hard to find fishing buddies, and when I do, people think, I don't know what it is, they think I got a lot of money or something." She goes, "I'm retired. I'm on fixed income. I can't blow $200 like a couple of times a week going fishing. I need a little, a buddy that'll pitch in a little cash."
Yep.
So keep the tank full, So that was our original concept. I was trying to solve her problem of finding fishing buddies more consistently, and those guys that would toss in, a few bucks. And since we launched the app, I think in the Keys, my mom's probably fished with, 20, 25 people. And has had such a good experience. She's gone fishing with other people on their boats, and she's taken people on her boat, and has just had a really great time. The other thing was been kind of a delightful surprise with fishing with so many different people is we have learned so much and have really expanded our repertoire of fishing.
Mm-hmm.
Before we had just kind of like a real stand, like we always went to this one particular reef. That's where we always caught the fish. We didn't do any trolling. We never went for tarpon. We never really would catch a few yellowtail, but we never really knew how to like chum for them and go for the big flags. We just kind of had our one little spot that we went to all the time. And then when we started fishing with all these different people, they're like, "Oh, let me show you how to do this and let me show you how to do that." So taking people out, you might think that you take a lot of beginners out when you have your own boat. But that wasn't our case at all. We were taking people out who like really knew what they were doing, and they just didn't have a boat right now for whatever reason. Either they had just moved or the boat was getting too much for them to maintain, or, there's a lot of different reasons, that people kind of pass on the boat ownership. But, man, that has been so much fun learning all these different fishing techniques.
That's cool.
Go ahead, Pam.
No, I was just going to say, that's really cool. That's kind of why I tournament fish. It seems like every area I go to, I run into somebody who has a new technique or a different way of doing things. And when you said that, it's like, that's so true. You may think
so
that.
True.
Yeah.
You get in your rut, you get in your rut and you're like, this is how I do it. And it's fun to teach people too. We've taken out some newbies as well, and we've taken out some tourists, people in town kind of thing. And, the thing, our site is primarily for fishing buddies. We're not really, like a charter sharing kind of service. We're just trying to help people find fishing buddies to go fishing with. And I think we kind of do help the charter guys out some because, what happens, I noticed a couple of times we've taken out, tourists, people are in town, or people that are brand new to fishing. And pulling the trigger on that $600 to $1,200 trip can be kind of hard and daunting for somebody brand new to fishing. And we've noticed we've taken some people out that a couple of times, and then they've totally fallen in love with it. And now they're ready to invest. Like they've gone and hired charter captains to show them, where to go in their area. They've gone out and bought boats. I took 3 ladies last year fishing with me, and that they all went in together and went out and bought a center console.
Oh, wow.
My goodness.
They went out and bought a 21-foot center console. It's like, I don't think they would have ever have done that if they didn't have, that that first fishing buddy kind of experience of like, hey, I could do this. This is a lot of fun, and what a neat thing. So,
well, Stacy, I'm up against a break, and it's a hard break. I've got to take this one. Thank you so much for sharing with us, and I'm looking forward to having you back on again because I really like what you do. You help other people. It's Stacy, and she is with fishwithme.net. You can find them online, and we will be right back. Fish Florida Show with your host, Riskala.
You're listening to the Fish Florida Show with your host, Riskala. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Do you own a laser printer, copier, or a fax? Well then, listen close to this announcement. Laser Technologies has been providing high-quality, frustration-free toner cartridges that are guaranteed not to harm your equipment for over 20 years. Laser Technologies will save you on your supplies with high quality and fast delivery. Savings up to 50%. Laser Technologies supplies toner, imaging drums, developer and cartridges for most of the major brands. For a price quote, send an email to service@laser-technologies.com. Include your printer make and model for your part number. Call us at 561-792-9600. That's 561-792-9600. Laser Technologies, providing 100% of the quality at a fraction of the price. 561-792-9600.
Hi folks, I'm Roger from Rogers Gotcha Motoring. If you need a local auto repair shop, Rogers Gotcha Motoring will take care of all of your automotive repair needs. If you need something as simple as an oil change or as complex as an engine overhaul, I have the latest in technology and the knowledge to get the job done right. We've been servicing Pinellas County since 1994 and are conveniently located at 3700 5th Avenue North in St. Petersburg, Florida. If you need service, call now at 727-327-1830 or visit my website at www.rogersgotchamotoring.com or like my Facebook page at Rogers Gotcha Motoring for a complete list of all of our services. So come on over to Rogers, that's me, and get your car service today. And don't forget to shop and support local business. Call now to book your appointment at 727-327-1830. That's 727-327-1830, or swing on by.
Que Pasa Mexican Cantina is where friends and neighbors come to connect, share, and celebrate one another in a festive, casual atmosphere. Offering rich, robust flavors of authentic Mexican cuisine, we use only the freshest, finest ingredients. We chop and dice, season and blend, and then cook everything we serve to perfection. One thing that makes Mexican food even better is one of our delicious Best of the Bay margaritas. Our signature series of margarita flavors range from our sweet and fruity mango and strawberry to our hot and juicy jalapeno margarita. Having a busy meeting or getting together and looking for Mexican food? Try our Fast Fax form. It's an easy, fast way to order your favorite Mexican food. We have special platters and layouts for any occasion. The form is super easy to fill out, fax, email, or just call it in. Whether it's here in the restaurant, in your home or office, at Que Pasa we celebrate bringing people together. Que Pasa Mexican Cantina, 10478 Roosevelt Boulevard, North Street in the Gateway Shopping Center, 727-330-3663 in St. Petersburg.
Test 1, 2, 3. Test 1, 2, 3. Hey, this is Captain Hook for Statewide Pest Control Services. They've been serving the west coast of Florida since 1987. Statewide does it all. Pest control, termites, lawns, mosquitoes, tent fumigations, etc. This announcement is from their mold division. Since Hurricane Charlie in 2004, all their personnel are certified in mold and moisture control. Their two-step services are guaranteed to get you back in your home quicker and in most cases paid by your insurance company. Give them a call at 877-488-7378. That's Statewide Pest Control Services for all your pest and mold control needs, serving Florida from Pasco to Lee counties. Statewide Pest Control Services, 877-488-7378. 877-488-7378. That's 877-488-7378.
You're listening to WDBFradio.com, a tune-in station.
WDBF Radio. WDBFradio.com. 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 Oh, I grab my fishing pole and cast it in the water. I fish until dawn. Oh my, I caught a shark. I'm fishing and blowing on. When the sun shines out, it calls me a group.
It's the Fish Florida Show with your host, Riscala Stevens, bringing the outdoors to you every Sunday morning, 8 to 10 a.m. on the WDBF Radio Network. And now, your host, Riscala Stevens.
All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen, and good morning to you. If you are just joining us, I certainly consider it an honor and a privilege to have you take the time out and allow us to share with you the fun that we have on Sunday mornings. And I always learn something. For me, it's a learning experience, and I'm not ashamed to tell you that I don't know it all, but it certainly is. This morning, again, I've learned something that I didn't know before. And this morning, I have with me my co-host is Miss Pam Worth. Miss Pam is one of the top female kayak anglers here in Florida. Good morning, Miss Pam. Did I lose you?
We had technical troubles, but good morning, sir, and thank you for inviting me along.
Stand by. Technical difficulties. But that's the joys that we get to do, doing live radio. We always have a little bit of fun here and there. And in the background back there is Captain Hook. He's taking care of all the goodies for me, answering the phone and making sure everything is at the right levels and taking care of all the stuff that needs to be taken care of that engineers do. Thank you, Captain Hook.
My pleasure. And I'm trying to get Pam's microphone on in time. That was my fault.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, we caught him with his hands in the cookie jar, so to speak, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll have to take that out with him a little later. Have we got our next guest there, Captain Hook?
We do. Captain Brett's on the line.
Good morning, Captain Brett.
Hey, good morning, guys. Great to be back. Thanks for having me back again.
It is an honor and a privilege, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you. How we all doing this morning? Good to talk to you again, Pam.
Thank you. What you been up to? What kind of fishing you been doing?
Same kind of thing. We've been getting maybe a couple more sheep's head because the water's getting a little cooler, which are always good to eat. They're always fun to catch really pretty fish, and they have a good diet to them. They eat a lot of fiddler crab and oysters and some of the barnacles off the concrete, and a lot of them we don't eat on shrimp. We use peeled shrimp for them, and they're just fantastic eating. They have a little bit of a lobster taste to them because of their diet, and they kind of a pain to fillet, but really, really good eating fish. They sell for about $12-13 a pound at some of the fish markets and public supermarkets. So we're trying to get into a few more of those. Still getting mango snapper. I've been getting a lot of shark up in the bay. The water temperature is really good up there. Getting a lot of the grass flats for mackerel are still swimming around. They just had the King of the Beach tournament. So I think the biggest one they just got was a 46.8 pound king mackerel, and so nice. Been good reports all around, offshore and inshore and nearshore. So water's clearing up and things are still good.
Great. Just so people know, when you said bay, you're talking about the Tampa Bay, St. Pete area?
Yes, ma'am. Up in the bay, I'll go around the Meisner Bridge and straight up to anywhere from the north end of the bay, way up there close to Davis Island and further up, and then following south waters towards the Skyway. We've been getting just drifting with the tide. Tide's been really heavy. We start to get some of the big king tides with the full moons, so which is help clean out the rest of the red tide. Concentrations are steadily going down, so fish are coming back in bigger numbers, and
thank you, God.
It's been really good out there.
We've been hearing more and more about that, particularly this morning, Brett, that the concentrations are thinning out, if you will, and there are people finding more and more places where they can go fishing and the water's clean and you can keep the fish where it's legal to keep the fish and that kind of thing. So it's very enlightening and very hopeful from what the report that you're giving. Again, you're kind of verifying what we've heard earlier in the show.
Good. Yeah. When it was really, really bad, I just use it as a positive, and it forces you to find better spots and more spots to fish in, and then you just better your game when you got to go every day like I do. So, but it's gotten, it's steadily better. The Hurricane Michael blew some of it back in, but it's steadily going out with a lot of the big tides.
Did we lose him, Captain Hook?
Rain, some east winds, and so it's been really good. I was happy to see the Suncoast fishing tournament coming up, and I was happy to see they did well at the Canada Beach, because that gives you a little bit of indication of what's going on offshore.
Do you know how far out?
Yeah, things are looking pretty good as far as I can see.
I don't think he can hear us. Do you know how far out they had to go for the kingfish? Oh, we can hear him, but I don't think he can hear us.
I'm having connection problems for whatever
there we
reason.
Go. Now I got you.
Oh, okay. There we go. Yeah, we could hear you, but for some reason you couldn't hear us.
Yeah,
okay.
And that's unusual for me to have connection problems, because I'm on a high-speed connection.
Yeah, and we're having some internet issues. We've just dropped out of the whole network and everything. So, and it's coming back. So we're back. Can everybody hear now? It's thank you, Spectrum high-speed internet.
Are you there, Captain Lutz? Well, I think we lost Brett.
Can you hear me, guys?
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
There we go.
Okay, are we back?
Yeah, it appears to be.
Nope. On and off.
It's in and out.
Oh, we're so sorry, Captain.
Yeah, it's just one of those things.
It's me.
All right, let's take a little commercial break. Captain Brett, stay with us, okay?
You're listening to the Fish Florida Show with your host, Riskella. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
This happened yesterday.
Download the Fish Florida mobile app to plan your boating, fishing, or hunting trip. You can find your tide reports, buoy reports, get a fishing license, and even find someone to go fishing with. Plus great products and services from all our media partners. And oh yeah, you can get the Fish Florida Show on the app. Sundays at 8 a.m. Eastern here on the WDBF radio networks. So download the Fish Florida mobile app to plan your boating, fishing, or hunting trip and tune in.
All right. Captain Brett, can you hear us now?
Okay, I can hear
in and out.
Yep, I can hear you guys now.
Okay.
In and out a little bit. That might be my cell phone connection.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, we're still having internet issues here.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Riskella, can you hear us?
Yeah, but it's in and out. It's breaking up.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting. It's kind of in and out.
Right.
Well, let's try it.
Yeah.
Let's go back and when you're talking sheep's head, how much longer in the bay are the sheephead going to run?
Generally, they kind of like water temperatures around, I would say, 80 to 70 degrees. I mean, honestly, it gets better as it gets colder, really. So I shouldn't even say that, but it gets down to, I would say 70 to 75 degrees. We're already getting more now when the water temperature is 80 degrees. So, as far as time, they have kind of a fall and a spring run, kind of like, almost like kingfish and tarpon do. It's not as pronounced, obviously. You could get them year round, but they're mostly biggest in numbers for, I would say, 3 months during the fall and early winter and into the winter. And then we get triple tail. Triple tail are starting up as well. And so I would say 3 or 4 months there. And then probably a couple months during the spring, they can get pretty heavy too, the sheep's head.
Okay. Now, what size hook are you using? I know that they're sometimes called the Bandit.
What size? What am I using? I'm sorry.
What kind of hook? Because I've heard that they've been called the striped bandit or the convict before, not only just because of their stripes.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. The nicknames for them. Yeah, the convict fish. you know, I've never heard. It's funny, they've got the real pronounced black and white stripes on them that are vertical. And I mean, what I do is they're just a fun fish to catch. I show people, you know, they have like these human teeth. They've got incisors, just like humans do on the front, and then they have round molars behind those incisors that they use to crush open the barnacles that are growing on the concrete. So they have the incisors to pick the barnacles off vertically, and then they crush them in the molars to get the meat out. And they do the same thing with fiddler crab that are hanging around on the barnacles, and then, you know, and then of course tossing shrimp close enough to the structure, they grab that. But they're fun to show to clients. They're not only good looking, pretty fish, but then when you peel up their lip a little bit, they look like human teeth, and it's just so fun to show the kids and everybody that from out of state that aren't familiar with that type of fish. They love it. It's a lot of fun.
That's great. Do you know the limits on those?
Yeah, the sheep's head need to be, let's see, those are, I go to 12 or bigger on those. Mm-hmm. And then as far as the bag limits on them, I try to stay around 5 per person because I don't like to, they're not a fish that, they're kind of, how should I say, residential. They kind of stay around the same areas where they're finding a lot of food until, you know, they'll move on like a lot of other fish, but they tend to stay in one area a lot of times, and I don't want to overfish them. So I stick with the, I know it's under, but I stick with the bag limit of 5 per person, like the mango snappers are.
Perfect. That's great that, you're looking forward into the industry and conservation in some way there. So that's excellent. Thank you very much for your support on that. Now, I heard that they were nicknamed the convict or the bandit because they're really good at stealing bait.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not just because of the black and white striped suits they used to wear, the convicts used to wear. It's because they're really good at stealing bait. You got to use small hooks. They joke. They say that you almost have to set the hook before they bite. So I know a lot of guys and myself, I used to fish off the piers before I started doing this for a living, and I didn't even have a boat. And you would dangle a small 1/0 hook and peel small pencil eraser sized pieces of shrimp, put them on the end of the hook and lower it down right along the pilings. If you get fiddler crab, that's even better. You can roll them right along the pilings, mm-hmm. and you can catch bucket loads of them if you want. But
mm-hmm.
That's great. That's great. And like you said, they are good eating. What's your best recipe? Oh, did we lose you again?
No. Yes, we did.
We're sorry about the technical difficulties out there.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We just lost Captain Brett again. There he goes. He's back. We're having internet issues. Our Spectrum internet is going in and out, in and out, in and out. And
okay. I'm sorry. I thought it was my cell phone here.
No. It's just, we're bringing you in on a Skype line, and when the internet goes in and out and in and out, it's like, it's happening really quickly within milliseconds. So that's why we're getting a little bit of lag.
Okay. Yep. No problem.
Yep.
No problem. I don't know what you guys heard there. If I should.
No. Pam wanted to know if you had a favorite recipe for the sheep's head.
Specifically the sheep's head.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be really, you know, they're kind of thinner fillets. They have a big head bone and rib cage structure to them, so they're a little harder to fillet. Big scales. But once you get down to the meat, it's really good. It's thin, so I tell people a lot of times they're really good with a light breading, and you pan fry them just like you would almost like a lake fish.
Mm-hmm.
You got to cook them slow because they'll cook really, really quick. If you get a bunch of them, a lot of times what we do is we throw our butter, seasoning, vegetables, and everything into an aluminum foil pouch, close the top of it, put it on the grill on the second rack, low, slow heat. And just, you got to kind of monitor them because they'll cook quick. But if you put a bunch of them together, you can cook them on a little higher heat. Just check them with the fork and wait till they're tender. But they'll go fast. It's almost like cooking, you know, perch or small lake fish.
There you go.
In a pan.
That sounds delicious.
Really good stuff.
I like the fact that everything's outside too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can
Easy
we have
cleanup.
fish for breakfast?
Yeah, fish for breakfast, sure. Shrimp and grits.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Shrimp and grits. There you go. And a lot of restaurants will serve grits for breakfast as well too. A few local places around Florida do that.
Well, Captain Brett, we're up against a break, but tell everybody how they can get in touch with you in case somebody wants to take you out for a charter.
Oh, great. Thank you. Yeah. My website is Sunrise Fishing Adventures with an S at Facebook. And then I also have another website, Sunrise Fishing Adventure without the S.com. You can go there. You'll have my rates up there. I'm generally around like $75 a person. I'm pretty affordable. I always need to at least have probably 2 or 3 people. I take up to 4. I do 4-hour trips, 6-hour trips. I do little 2.5-hour trips. They're like $40 a person. I got a lot of good spots close to the marina, so you get a lot more fishing time, less travel time. And my phone number is 727-551-1370.
There you go. And I'm telling you, Captain Brett knows his stuff because he's a personal friend of mine, and he's very reasonable. So that's you couldn't ask for a better guide. Give him a call. All right, we're going to take a break. Thanks, Captain Brett.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
All right.
You're listening to the Fish Florida Show with your host, Riskella. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Download the Fish Florida mobile app to plan your boating, fishing, or hunting trip. You can find your tide reports, buoy reports, get a fishing license, and even find someone to go fishing with. Plus great products and services from all our media partners. And oh yeah, you can get the Fish Florida Show on the app. Sundays at 8 a.m. Eastern here on the WDBF radio networks. So download the Fish Florida mobile app to plan your boating, fishing, or hunting trip and tune in.
Battles aren't won solely on the field. That's a common misconception. Battles are won within. Over enemies of fear, enemies of doubt. In that place where promises are kept. Promises to oneself.
This is a physical training event.
Promises to one's community.
Helping people move debris out of their house.
Promises to one's country. In the heart of every Marine, you'll find a promise. A promise forever kept. A promise of battles won.
Today, my new dad and I shot off a rocket in the park.
Today, my new son and I failed to shoot off a rocket.
He knew exactly what to do.
I had no clue what I was doing.
We set up the rocket.
Hit
ignition. And then
nothing. Sometimes I laugh when I'm frustrated.
Then out of nowhere, the rocket launched into the air.
The rocket did get into the air.
I've never seen anything fly so high.
And then crashed into a kite.
Look out! Look out!
And then the pond.
I'll never forget that day.
I'll never forget that day, even if I tried.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are. For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
It took me a long time to be able to say Chandler has cancer, because that is such a scary word. St. Jude takes care of absolutely everything. And knowing that we don't have to pay for all of the medical expenses, that's huge.
St. Jude allowed me to focus on being a mom to Bryce. And sometimes I'm just in awe of the impact St. Jude has, not only on this community, but the world.
St. Jude is uniquely positioned to advance the cures of pediatric cancer, I think better than any other institution in the world. The contributions make a big difference.
Donors are important to us because you get the feeling that you have a team behind you. We have the resources and we have the focus. And so if St. Jude doesn't do it, who will?
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures. Saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
My vehicle was sent 6 feet in the air in a ball of fire. I thought I was going to die.
It ripped my arm off. It broke my right femur.
I took such a hard blow to the head that my retina was torn apart.
Say a prayer for peace.
I'm Trace Adkins. I want to tell you about these true American heroes and how you can show your thanks by helping them through Wounded Warrior Project.
They reached out to us as a family, and they never forgot about us.
The job of helping thousands of our wounded warriors rebuild their lives is massive and growing every day. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Many of these service members suffer traumatic brain injury and post-traumatic stress disorder.
They helped me basically put my life back together.
If it wasn't for Wounded Warrior Project, I would be a statistic right now. I would have been one of those soldiers who came home and committed suicide.
I'm in the fields of Vietnam, the mountains of Afghanistan.
Your gift today of $19 a month can help us provide the programs and services desperately needed by our wounded service members. Call or go online with a pledge and you'll receive this Wounded Warrior Project blanket. Make that call now.
Say a prayer for peace.
I grab my fishing pole and cast it in the water. I fish until dawn. Oh my, I caught a shark. I'm fishing and blowing on. When the sun shines all day. It calls me a grouper. So fishing and blowing on. Oh yeah.
It's the Fish Florida Show with your host, Riscala Stevens, bringing the outdoors to you every Sunday morning, 8 to 10 a.m. on the WDBF Radio Network. And now your host, Riscala Stevens.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. A little bit of technical difficulty, but that's the joy of doing live radio. There's no hiding from it. When it happens, it happens. It's not one of those things where we can pre-record it and then edit it and take it all out and make it sound like nothing's going on here, nothing to look at, ladies and gentlemen. But it's always fun and exciting, and that's part of the joy of doing this show. And if you're just joining us, my goodness, you've missed out on quite a bit. You can always catch up on it. We do replay the show at 3 p.m. and again at 4 a.m. in the morning. And if you miss both of those, we do archive the show. You can find it on thefishfloridashow.com. You can also find it on YouTube, Fish Florida Show, on YouTube as well. And this morning, I have Miss Pam Worth. She is one of the top female kayak anglers here in Florida. Good morning, Miss Pam.
Good morning, sir.
And back there in the background, juggling, feverishly working away to try to make everything work, but it's a little bit out of his control, is Captain Hook.
Yeah, it is. We can all point the finger at Spectrum this morning. Spectrum.
Spit on Spectrum.
That's right.
Watching 2 minutes, everything will go down.
Last week, Captain Hook?
Not this past week I haven't, but the week before I was over on the East Coast and had mixed luck, but it was nice to see that all the nursery and the Mosquito Lagoon area and stuff like that, there was a lot of little fish, an incredible amount. All the fish that we were catching were little bitty guys, but they were there was just an abundance of them. So that was good news. So next season, I think come next May or so, when these guys get a little bit bigger, we'll have some incredible fishing.
It kind of gives you hope for what's coming up in the future, right?
Absolutely. It was just like everything was there. There were all kinds of different fish, but they were just small. But it gives you hope that, they're going to come back strong next year.
That's what we need.
Yep.
Do we have a front coming through? Because I'm looking at the reports, and it looks like we're expecting on this side of the state, and I'm looking at the radar, it is picking up. On this side of the state, we're expecting thunder showers as the day develops. So maybe we've got a front coming through.
There was a cold front that came through in the middle of the night, and it's just now clearing here and passing and heading your way. And the temperature dropped down this morning to about 65 degrees over here.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but it's supposed to heat back up to 80 in the afternoon. So But it was just, one of those deals. Now the next cold front that's coming through on Wednesday, that one's just going to be a little bit more precise and you'll feel it a lot more.
And how will that affect fishing? For those of us, for me who is ignorant, how does it affect fishing?
When the low front comes through, it's great. Kind of the trick is when a cold front comes through, the day before is going to be a massive fishing day because you've got a nice low and fish just seem to feed. And then the front comes through and the following day is the high comes through and kind of puts pressure on the fish. They don't eat as well. Plus you have bluebird skies. With me, especially using artificial, it just seems really, really hard to get the bite on. But give that 24 hours to go away, and then the next day should be awesome fishing again.
So it's a day before the front comes through, generally speaking. Mm-hmm. The day before a front comes through would be a good day. Mm-hmm. When the front comes through is not going to be such a good day.
No, the day the front comes through, the pressure changes and the fish kind of disperse. And they're all over the place. The ones that like the top water go deep and the ones that like to be on the bottom dig in even more. So that's just part of nature and you just got to roll with it,
Yep.
So I just want to be clear. So the day before is good. The day during is not so good, but the day after is okay?
Well, give it a day. That first day of the blue skies with the really, really high clouds, it just seems it's real hard to get a bite. Especially in this area, we've had such clear water. The fish basically can see you coming from miles away, it seems like. But it's not that it's bad, it's just not as good. Mm-hmm. If you want to use a frame.
So in your experience, a couple of days after the front comes through.
Right, things tend to get back to normal again. But in my opinion, any day you can get out on the water is a great day to fish.
I'll give you an example. A week ago Friday, I was just getting ready to come back over from the East Coast and I fished all week, and then that Friday we didn't do it. The bite, you could tell the front was coming through, and as the front came through, the bite was completely off. I didn't catch a fish Friday before. I always fish before I get in the truck and come home, and didn't catch a fish that day. So
wow. So it really does have a serious effect on fish. It's good to know. I'm thinking about it. Now, what about moons? Let's talk about moons for a minute. What happens because one of my favorite times to go fishing is on a full moon. I just love the atmosphere of being out, especially on a calm night, of being out there. It seems like you're just on a puddle and you've got the light coming from the moon shining on the water. Man, I want to go out there. It's just one of those things that's very, very enjoyable to me. How does that affect fishing?
I love night fishing on a full moon. That's one of my favorite times to go night fishing. I don't care if it's summer or winter. I love full moon night fishing. But what a full moon, fish tend to feed more because it's more like daylight and they can see the bait up above them. The other thing about full moon tides is they tend to be big swing tides where you're going to get your higher high or your lower low.
Or lower low.
So yeah, especially if you're night fishing out on the flats, just, keep that in mind so you don't have to walk your boat back in. As you saw on the Qualified Captain.
Okay, so now let's talk about the tide. We have a full moon. Would you prefer to fish on an incoming or an outgoing?
My favorite time to fish is the last 2 hours of an outgoing and the first 2 hours of an incoming, depending on, most of the areas. But 90% of the time, that's my favorite tide because it's pulled all, and again, I'm talking inshore. It's pulled all the fish out from the mangroves and they haven't been able to get back up in there, and it kind of consolidates them. But if you're going offshore, anytime, I think basically the outgoing tide for snapper is an amazing tide on the full moon. Just do a little chumming and those babies are going to come to you.
And what do you think, Captain Hook? You prefer incoming, outgoing, a little bit of both like Pam?
I personally prefer the outgoing tide right as the tide changes. And because it changes things up just a little bit, and the predator fish are coming up as the tide changes. The predator fish are coming up to get the fish that you're probably after. There's always a bigger fish, you know that. So that's when I know, especially if you're fishing around the Skyway Bridge area over here in Tampa and down there, you always want to be on the outgoing tide coming out of Tampa Bay. And it's in that area. And it's pretty much the same over on the East Coast, depending on where you are. Because if you're on the intercoastal and depending on which direction the tide, the current has to flow to get to the inlet. Over there where we are, the inlet flows to the north on the outgoing tide because it's going toward Ponce Inlet. And so I always have way better luck on the outgoing tide.
I kind of fish both, but I've really never narrowed it down to hours like Pam has. Of course, that's why she's number one. But I've never really thought about it down to the hours kind of thing. I just I kind of like to fish on an incoming tide. Some of the favorite times for me are the moment, that brief period of time when it's just the water becomes calm and it hasn't started moving in or out yet. And I guess it lasts for maybe 10 or 15 or 20 minutes or so. I've had some really nice catches during that time as it's kind of neutral, so to speak.
That's interesting.
And it depends on where you are in your geographic location, or how the current is acting, say around pilings and things like that. Right. You know, the reason I like the outgoing tide is it seems like you got a whole lot more fish passing your bait.
Right.
You know.
I think the fish are staged up better because it's like I said, it's flushing everything out of the mangroves.
Yeah,
I know with tarpon, if you fish that area between the Skyway and Egmont Key, the outgoing tide is keen for tarpon and kingfish in that area because they're just sitting there waiting for crabs or bait fish to come flushing out.
It makes sense. It's logical to me that what you said earlier about the last couple of hours of the outgoing tide is kind of draining the bay area and pushing these fish out and allowing you exposure to them.
Yeah, that's just my opinion.
Yeah, and I'm looking it up right now. There's a real good website that you can pull up on your Google or whatever, and I'm doing it right now. Here, give me a second here, and I'll get back to you.
The other thing I want to tell people, even the captains do this. Keep a log. Keep a log. Put in there the tide, the time, your location, and even if you didn't do well, put notes in it, because if you're sitting there thinking, well, where do I want to fish today? You go back to similar days, and it's going to help you find a nice location where you actively caught fish before. That's why I was down in Matlacha this weekend. Is like, as I said before, I have a tournament coming up the first week of December, but the tides were basically the same as they're going to be in December. Now the water is going to be cooler then, but it gave me an idea where the fish are starting to stage in that kind of tide level and where they would be.
Yeah, and Riscala, that website is called tides4fishing.com. And it's an incredible app. It's not an app. It's actually a website. And it'll go in there and, just for example, I'll look up the Gandy Bridge over here, and it'll tell you when the tides are. It'll show you when the bite is on. It'll show you exactly what the peak tide is, how much water's moving, everything. It's an incredible site. I use it all the time, and it's always dead on.
Yeah, that's a site I use as well.
Yeah,
and it's not neither one of us are sponsored by them, but that happens to be the exact site that I look at.
Wow. So it's tides, the number 4, fishing.com.
Well, all you have to put in, if you Google, put tides, the number 4, fishing, a space, and then put whatever location, like, Gandy, St. Pete, Cape Coral.
Or you can, when you look it up on Google, you can just put tides for Gandy Bridge, Tampa Bay, or tides for Skyway Bridge, or over there on your side, you can put tide for Boynton Beach, Inlet, or whatever. And it will tell you.
I'm looking, that's amazing.
Yeah, and it'll tell you when the bite's on, and it's cool.
It gives you wind direction and what they guess how strong the winds are going to be.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, we have a similar, maybe not as sophisticated, but we have a similar information on the app, the Fish Florida app, which is a free app, by the way, which I don't mention very often, and I apologize if Victoria I don't mention very often, gets sidetracked. We do have an app that you can download for free. It's called the Fish Florida app, and you can get a lot of information on it as well. It may not be as detailed as Tides for Fishing, but it is I think of it as a vital part of fishing if you're going to go out and enjoy it, because it tells you about all kinds of stuff that's out there. And of course, you can always listen to the Fish Florida show right from the app as well. So that's a little plug for the app. Victoria, I know she likes to listen, and that's a little plug for the app for Victoria. Thank you, Victoria. We appreciate what you do.
Yes, we do. Couldn't be here without you, lady.
Yep. It wouldn't have happened. Okay, well, I see that we're up. It's that time again, Captain Hook.
Yep. You're listening to the Fish Florida Show with your host, Riskella. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Do you own a laser printer, copier, or a fax? Well then, listen close to this announcement. Laser Technologies has been providing high-quality, frustration-free toner cartridges that are guaranteed not to harm your equipment for over 20 years. Laser Technologies will save you on your supplies with high-quality and fast delivery. Savings up to 50%. Laser Technologies supplies toner, imaging drums, developer, and cartridges for most of the major brands. For a price quote, send an email to service@laser-technologies.com. Include your printer make and model for your part number. Call us at 561-792-9600. That's 561-792-9600. Laser Technologies, providing 100% of the quality at a fraction of the price. 561-792-9600.
Que Pasa Mexican Cantina is where friends and neighbors come to connect, share, and celebrate one another in a festive, casual atmosphere. Offering rich, robust flavors of authentic Mexican cuisine, we use only the freshest, finest ingredients. We chop and dice, season and blend, and then cook everything we serve to perfection. One thing that makes Mexican food even better is one of our delicious Best of the Bay margaritas. Our signature series of margarita flavors range from our sweet and fruity mango and strawberry to our hot and juicy jalapeno margarita. Having a busy meeting or getting together and looking for Mexican food? Try our Fast Fax form. It's an easy, fast way to order your favorite Mexican food. We have special platters and layouts for any occasion. The form is super easy to fill out, fax, email, or just call it in. Whether it's here in the restaurant, in your home or office, at Que Pasa we celebrate bringing people together. Que Pasa Mexican Cantina, 10478 Roosevelt Boulevard North Street in the Gateway Shopping Center, 727-330-3663 in St. Petersburg.
Hi folks, I'm Roger from Rogers Gotcha Motoring. If you need a local auto repair shop, Rogers Gotcha Motoring will take care of all of your automotive repair needs. If you need something as simple as an oil change or as complex as an engine overhaul, I have the latest in technology and the knowledge to get the job done right. We've been servicing Pinellas County since 1994 and are conveniently located at 3700 5th Avenue North in St. Petersburg, Florida. If you need service, call now at 727-327-1830 or visit my website at www.rogersgotchamotoring.com or like my Facebook page at Rogers Gotcha Motoring for a complete list of all of our services. So come on over to Rogers, that's me, and get your car service today. And don't forget to shop and support local business. Call now to book your appointment at 727-327-1830. That's 727-327-1830, or swing on by.
Grab my fishing pole and cast it in the water. I fish until dawn. Oh my, I caught a shark. I'm fishing and blowing on when the sun shines all day. They call me a grouper. So fishing and blowing on. Oh yeah. Fishing and
It's the Fish Florida Show with your host, Riscala Stevens, bringing the outdoors to you every Sunday morning, 8 to 10 a.m. on the WDBF Radio Network. And now, your host, Riscala Stevens.
Well, good morning to you if you're just joining us. It is the last segment of the show. If you've missed any part of it, then you're want to hear it again, you can always hear it this afternoon at 3 p.m. in the afternoon. And if you can't make it at 3 p.m., you can always hear us again at 4 o'clock in the morning if you're one of those that just can't get to sleep for whatever reason, or you're getting ready to go fishing like some people we know.
There you go.
You can always find us there as well. And this morning, Pam Worth, one of the top female kayak anglers, is joining me. Good morning, Miss Pam.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for having me aboard.
And back there taking care of all the goodies for me, thank you, Mr. Captain Hook himself.
No problem, no problem. It's been an interesting show today, let's put it that way.
And it's, you know, I am so happy to hear that there are places, people, and it's getting better and better. That is such an uplifting word for me. Now, with regard to the weather here on the East Coast today, it looks like it's going to get a little heavy with the thunderstorms as the day goes on. So if you're going to do something, you should do it in the earlier part of the day and enjoy it, because it looks like in the afternoon we're going to be kind of like a summer cycle type of thing, I guess, from the heat and everything, and a front coming through or passing through, combination of which is going to give us some thunder showers in the area. Right now it's nice and warm. We're already up to almost 80 degrees. It's not even 10 o'clock yet, and we're almost up to 80 degrees.
Wow. Yeah, that you know, when it goes down as a cold front, it seems to come back with rain. That's happened the last couple weeks now.
Yep, it's evident of what happens. Anyway, my next guest is Captain James. Captain James is with localknowledgefishing.com. localknowledgefishing.com. You can find him there. Always and I appreciate Captain James for doing it. A last minute thing. I had a cancellation and he was right there for me. Thank you. I appreciate it. Good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Can you hear us, James?
Oh, yeah. Were you able to hear me?
Yeah, there you go. Just faded in and out a little bit.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. I think last time we caught you on the way to a fish festival. Are you headed out anywhere here today?
Yep, I have my daughter's first cheerleading competition for the year. So got my son getting ready now, and we're going to head over there and check her out. Mom's with her, getting her all dressed up. Oh,
please apologize to your family for us, but thank you so much for taking the time to jump in.
Oh, yeah, no problem. No, we don't leave for a little bit. It's all good.
Yeah. Now, you hosted something fairly incredible last Wednesday, if I don't mind putting you on the spot for a minute, and it was a fundraiser. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, we with Tampa Fishing Outfitters, who Pam and I are both affiliated with, we hosted an event. We wanted to, well, let me backtrack. A few weeks ago, we started a supply drive for the folks up there in the Panhandle affected by Hurricane Michael. And we made that delivery about a week and a half ago. We thought we'd follow it up and try to do a fundraiser event at the store and try to collect funds that we can directly contribute to the angling community up there, whether it be captains who are out of work, bait and tackle shops, you know, just anybody we could get that money to that can put it to a good cause. And it was a fantastic turnout. I'd say a little over 100 people. We had a lot going on. Everyone was talking fishing. We had some instructional outside, whether it was learn how to flip for bass, throw a cast net, or even fly fish. So it was a great event, great turnout, and couldn't be happier that we're able to make a small impact to those in need up there.
Thank you so much for doing that. I know it was a lot of time and energy. What do you remember offhand the name of the charity? Anglers?
It's WARF. It's Worldwide Angling Relief Fund.
Excellent, excellent. So the contribution goes directly to anglers one way or the other, captains, as you said,
it's really
shops.
Anglers in need, and it kind of stemmed out of Florida in the Gulf Coast with all generally the hurricane impacts.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, let me switch a little bit. Fishing in Tampa Bay, how have you been doing, and what have you been targeting?
Yeah. Well, it's been a really diverse week. We've bounced around off the beaches a little bit, hunting for kingfish, and they're definitely here. There's definitely some big kingfish floating around. I wasn't able to get out as far as some folks have, but I know that in the Sun's King of the Beach, a lot of big fish came in. And it seems like that 20 to 30 mile range seemed to be the ticket to get in that really good, clean, crystal clear water. That's where the fish were happiest.
Okay, yeah, I haven't heard of anything too much off the pier.
Yeah, well, the piers, so the last time I was at the Skyway Bridge, that's the pier I see most frequently. There are a lot of bonita, still a good, healthy population of Spanish mackerel. I haven't heard any reports of any big kingfish yet, but I think we have a front coming through early this week. I want to say Tuesday or Wednesday, and that may push some of those fish that are lingering offshore up inside the bay.
Excellent. So what else have you been targeting?
So inshore, yesterday, well, actually the past few days, Friday and Saturday, our trips were focused on inshore, and we were targeting slams on redfish, trout, and snook. Mm-hmm. We were able to get those both days. The water, it continues to clear up. With the warmer weather pattern, though, that we had at the end of last week, the water temps came up. There were even some areas we marked water temps above 80 degrees again. So this cold front that may come through might be nice to get it back in the 70s. I just know the fish tend to be a lot happier then. But I think I touched on it last week. Our tramp bite is really starting to pick up, and these fish are staging in that 3 to 5 foot range on the edge of our grass flats, whether it's the south end of the bay or the north end of the bay. Kind of just idle up onto a flat. If you have a trolling motor, or if you're trying to really work the edge of that flat, and it drops off deep into the inside of the bay.
Perfect. Are you still throwing bait, or have you started using artificials? Is there still a lot of bait on the flats?
Personally, now I think is the best time of year to focus on some of those artificial baits, whether it be the plugs, the jerk baits, the paddle tails. I think right now it's nice to give a different silhouette with the amount of bait fish that are on the flats. I think that you're actually going to cover more ground and be a little more successful with an artificial bait right now, until you locate fish. And if you feel like you're on some fish and you're able to get some of the smaller greenbacks have been the ticket, and put a little chum in the water, it's really been able to turn on a bite and keep it lasting a little bit longer.
Excellent. Now, I fished off your boat, so I have to say that it's one of the nicest boats I've fished off for the flats than I can remember. What are you running right now?
So I have a 2015 Skeeter. It's a 24-foot bay boat. And, I've spent a lot of time rigging that out to get it to where I need it. It's got a bi-pilot trolling motor and a couple of power poles that keep us operating on the flats as quietly as possible. And it's got a custom-rigged half tower in it.
Right. And your tackle, I think you prefer Fenwick and Penn. Is that your combination?
Yeah, I've had a lot of luck. I've really spent many years fishing with a lot of different products. And let me first say, I think, all of the products have come a long way, and we're able to get them at a price point, right in that $100 range, I think is key in this market. And, there's a lot of offerings, but I've gone with Penn reels. I'm using the Conflict 2s right now, with a Fenwick Elite Tech inshore rod. And the rod, I think, is the most critical component in the Tampa Bay area because, we have a lot of pressure in this area from boaters, kayakers, waders, and then even just the pleasure folks who just kind of go out on their cruise. That the fish are seeing a lot of trout. They're seeing a lot of, they're feeling a lot of pressure, and they get a little skittish around the boat. So I go with a 7/6 medium action rod, just to get that bait or that artificial lure out a little bit further. So that's the rod of choice.
Excellent. And any tip that you have for the upcoming week that you can think of, especially with the front coming through? What would your strategy be?
Yes, so we're going to continue to see this water clear up. We had a summer and an early fall of cloudy water, really warm, stirred up water, and you could get away with a little bit heavier leader, up in the 30-pound range. But lately, I've been scaling back all the way to 20, even when targeting snook, just to create a few more bites. That visibility for the fish and as well as the angler is excellent right now. You can spot them, they can spot you, and they can see all of your terminal tackle in there. So really scale back in the next few weeks and try to dial in on a 20-pound fluorocarbon leader just to give yourself that advantage I often tell my clients I'd rather us get the bite, get the fish on the hook, have an opportunity to catch it rather than them see the leader if you're a little bit thicker and, not be able to entice that fish to eat.
That's great advice. So anyhow, so you're downscaling, just to kind of review, you're downscaling from about a 30-pound leader to 20, and small trout, maybe 15, or are you just staying at that 20, 25?
I tend to stay with the 20. I do carry 15, and if I feel like I'm near fish and for whatever reason I get the notion that they're onto me, then I will scale back to 15. However, just in a lot of the areas we're fishing, we're seeing a mixed bag with those trout. You'll get some bluefish right now. You'll get some snook with those fish. So I like to be a little, right in that 20-pound range, but I will have 15 with me and without fail.
Thank you. And real quick, how does somebody get in touch with you? Because you're one of the best captains out there.
Several ways. I have social media accounts, Facebook and Instagram, but I prefer, I have a website, and I think we touched on that earlier. It's localknowledgefishing.com. And then also, my direct line is 813-625-2067.
And I heard a little voice in Palm Beach want to say something.
I have a couple of questions. Captain James, and this might be silly, but this is, that's just the way I am. I'd rather be honest and transparent. When you're fishing and you're reducing, you're going from 30 to 20, for example. I know that they have like black hooks and they have silver hooks and they have black, swivels and silver swivels. That's a good one. What do you do and what is your preference for that kind of stuff?
So I tend to use it's a black nickel finish. And that's just kind of always been my thing is I don't think that shine in the nose of the hook necessarily turns the fish off. In fact, sometimes a little bit of glare can camouflage, better than black terminal tackle. Sometimes that black terminal tackle, in high sun conditions can really stand out and create a silhouette on the front of the bait. So I tend to go with the black nickel. Which just has more of a shine to it. As far as swivels go, I try to avoid them if possible, just because if you're working an artificial lure, sometimes that cavitation that it can create moving through the water, it'll create bubbles, 2 to 3 feet up the line where you join your leader to your main line. But if I do, I like to stay with that black nickel finish too, as well.
When you're not again, I'm asking just out of pure honesty. When you're not using a swivel, how does that keep the line from getting so twisted up that it gets all messed up? How do you do that?
So the only time that I'll see that happen, in my experience, is when fishing with a spoon. The spoon tends to want to wobble, and if you don't have a swivel somewhere in the entirety of that rig, you will create some line twists. You can manage it to a degree by stretching the line out behind the boat every so often and letting it kind of uncoil. But really, that's the only time I'll choose to use a swivel. Other than that, I'm just using a uni-to-uni knot to join the leader to the main line. And I just don't have that big of an issue with the line twist. We get the occasional wind knot in the braid, but that's just one of those things that I haven't really found the cure for that.
We were talking earlier about full moons and fishing under a full moon. Do you go night fishing? You ever go night when there's a full moon?
I don't as much with the children now. Just 'cause I like to be home in the evenings, but I have some experience with it, and on those occasions, if that's the trip somebody wants to do, I have made those arrangements. Yeah.
Do you prefer incoming or outgoing? Or both?
Well, it really depends on the targeted fish. And Pam and I talk about this a lot. We've actually had a seminar, I believe, a few months ago, and that's a question that comes up a lot. For me, I've kind of learned that I go fishing when people want to go fishing. So I really look at any given moment, what's the water depth? And in Tampa, I've been able to find some success keying on the water depth at my location that I'm going to be at, and understanding where on the grass flat that water depth is going to take them. I feel like that if the water's low and it's coming in, they're going to start outside, work their way up. And if the water's high going out, then they're going to be up near the shoreline or the mangrove tree line and work their way out. So I kind of just learn a particular fact, understand what type of depth that the targeted fish is going to be in, whether it be trout, snook, or redfish, and try to predict or follow them on their migration to whether it's going in or going out.
Well, I certainly want to thank you for taking the time to call in. Unfortunately, as we have fun, as always, we run out of time very quickly.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
People can get a hold of you at area code 813-625-2067. Find him online, localknowledgefishing.com. We are out of time. Thank you for joining us this morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Pam. Thank you, Captain Hook. And thank you one more time, Captain Beers. Greatly appreciate it.